BassResinator here. I am going to do something with some of my sunflowers that I have dried, and I used Wise Dry silica gel sand, and I left these in about a week. If you leave them in too long, the petals curl up a little bit more and they fall off. So you have to be real careful to leave them in the right amount of time for them to be totally dry, but also not shrivel up so much. Now, I saw Sandra Rettich do something similar with, I don't know if she used sunflowers or some type of flower, but she used black resin and set the flowers so they look like mystical flowers in the, well, I'm going to do something similar, except I'm not going to make it straight black. I'm going to make it like a smoky quartz type of a color, a dark color. Anyway, I'm going to mix up some resin. I'm going to come back and I'm going to put a little bit of the resin on these center areas first, because then I'm going to put them down into the mold itself. But I want to make sure that I don't have any or too many bubbles catching into those. So I'll be right back when I get the resin done. While I'm letting this degas, just to let you know, I used Let's Resin Caramel. This is 15 ounces of resin, magic resin, 1:1, so it's art. But 15 ounces in this is not going to be too deep. I used 10 drops of caramel and 11 drops of black. And it looks really dark this way, but if you look at it from the side, it's that smoky quartz look. So while I'm letting it degas, I thought I would go over the top of these center areas on the sunflowers and let that start working its way through, hopefully to avoid excessive amounts of bubbles. Now, in the past I have done UV resin on that center area, and it came out okay, but let me try this. And you were not privy, unless you were one of my friends on Facebook, or follow me, or stalk me on Facebook, how to tell the age of sunflowers after they've been blooming. This one that I'm putting the resin on right now is an older one. The first one I did over on the side is a younger one, and you can tell by the middle. See, this middle section that I'm covering right now is a whole bunch of little tiny flowers. These are composite flowers. The big petals that we consider the flower are actually one type of flower, and the center is a different type. Kind of crazy the way that all works. But the center ones put up little stalks as they get older. They start off and the center area is just one color, just a dark color on this variety. This is an older one here too, but that first one didn't have as many little things standing up, so you can tell it is a younger one. When they first start off, they're just the dark center, and then as they get older, that center area gets puffy. Like these are all puffy. And that puffiness is where bubbles like to hang out. And I don't want the bubbles, if at all possible. So if I can put some resin down in there and help it to escape, that would be the awesome deal. or push out an area where bubbles might hang out. Just take that surface area away. And there's still some bubbles in this, but it's degassing pretty good. This one here is the middle age. These two here are middle age. This is a young one because look, that center area doesn't have very many little flowerets up. This one is just solid flowerets. So this is the older one. This, when they first bloom, the first day that they're open, they have just a little ring of those flowerets around the outside. The second day they're like this, where they have that ring around the outside and a few more. Third day they're like this, where they're getting them pretty good coverage all over. Fourth day they're just completely covered. And I got a hair hanging on that. Don't need a hair getting in there. A hair in there? No, shan't have that. And a song has been running through my head. I've been having a couple of my subscribers, in a nice way, scolding me for missing opportunities on songs. So, smoke in the water. That's what is going on in my head right now. So, with this smoky quartz look, that's what I'm seeking. And I think I have achieved that. And then I'm going to go around the sides with a silicone tool, make sure we got nothing going on there. Got one bubble. Hey, came right up and popped. Awesome. Now when I stored this mold after the last time that I used it, I sprayed in mold release and I sort of wiped it out, but maybe that'll help get rid of these bubbles. Cool song. Smoke in the water. Okay, I'm gonna let the rest of that sit there for a bit while I check. If my head, oh, I see a spot right there. If my head gets in the way too much, yell at me. I'll hear you. Right in that little corner. Standing on the corner where you are. I saw some little bubbles trying to hang out on the edge. I hate that when I pull it out and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then there's a little air pocket on the side that I never saw. I'm like, well, okay. So I got the majority of those bubbles from around the edge gone. Just a few in the middle. Okay, now for the kind of yucky part, because I got resin. And these are going to try and float, but I'm going to try and push them down. And I'm going to have overlap. And I just had some sand come off. Okay, this guy's bigger than the other guy. So he will go here. Look at all that pollen on the bottom. And I know there's overlap, but that is totally fine. If I can push these down a little bit and force any bubbles this way, that's what I'm trying. Now after this cures up a little bit, I will use a deep pour over the top of that. But I know I'm going to have possibility, I'm going to have to go pour it slowly, because right here, this one is sticking up a ways, this one is sticking up a ways, because those centers are so thick. That's going to be a good possibility for bubbles, so I will definitely have to pour slowly so it'll go underneath that. But Sandra Rettig was the one that did this with the darkish color, and then I may do another smaller pour with this same type of colorant, and then come in with a darker. Well, nah, I mean, I'll just go in with that same color the whole way. Yeah. And then when I pull this out, you're going to see this, because the deeper this gets with that color, it's going to get darker. So yeah, that'll work fine. But I will put a link to Sandra Rettig's video, and just look at what she did. She did a lot darker. I don't want to do that. That's just me. But what she did was really, really cool. I had never seen it done with that dark of mixture. So I'm trying something new. Trying out I just pulled these out of the sand today. So I don't want to ruin all that work. I still have a few more sunflowers out there blooming, but I don't want to waste them, you know? Okay. I will come back at you when I pour the next round. This is, you can see it's a little bit tacky and still a little bendy, but I think it's perfect for this deep pour resin to go in. The last time that I saw y'all, I added a Mexican sunflower in here. There was a gap, and I thought, you know, I add a little bit more color. I don't know how much color is going to show through with that smoky quartz look, but I mixed up 20 ounces of resin. It's over here to the side. Let me get it in the camera, the edge right there. I'm just letting it degas a little bit. I am a little concerned about possible bubbles happening underneath there, but hopefully this is a deep pour resin. It's Resin Pro. It's called the Crystal 5, which means it can go 2 inches deep or 5 centimeters. But I want it thin resin so that I can go underneath those sunflowers. I mixed the same colors, trying to pour it right here on the edge and let it just sort of run underneath. Mix the same colors in a proportionate amount so that it'll keep about the same color. Okay, I just saw a bubble pop out from underneath that. There's another one popping out over there. That's good if it'll release them. The way that moved real fast, like on my peripheral vision, I thought it was. I went outside today with my dog, and we have these little lizards called annuals, A-N-O-L-E, and they're really fascinating. But they move super fast, especially when they're scared. And I saw one out of the corner of my eye, and it sort of looks like that on this. I thought, what? I got a lizard in here? How in the world? See, they just sort of look like they're off in a distance with this color of resin. Still haven't gotten over the top of those little pieces. There, I got them all covered. And I don't see a lot of bubbles happening, which can be a positive, I think. I'm hoping. And I don't know if I need to go any deeper with this, even though the mold has more space. I want to keep it as clear as possible. There is a little line of I don't know what. Right there, it sort of looks like, you know, when you put mica in and some of it comes loose off the mold, if you've dusted your mold with it and it sort of floats, that's what it sort of looks like there. I don't know what that is. That's pollen. Pollen off of the backs of some of these. Remember I said look at the pollen? Goodness, that is crazy. A couple bubbles have floated to the top. I know they will pop on their own, but since I got this right here, I might as well. That is crazy, that pollen. Maybe it'll get saturated with the resin and sink. Let me zoom in on this so you can see what. It's very clear, but it's dark. I like this. It's not the same effect as what Sandra did on hers, but it's definitely, and you know what? I just saw a bubble hanging on the back of. There's one. I see that one. There's one there. Come on. Get off. I don't see any more though. Which is, oh, there's a little tiny one here. Super fascinating to me. bubble hanging out right up against the edge. Cannot have that. Sorry about that. You can tell me if I have any lice in my hair. Sticking it right in front of you. My kaput. At least it's not my karpos. Greek for face. When I took Greek in college, we'd try and learn an insult, and we'd go around calling each other karpos prosopon, fruit face. Don't know how much of an insult that was, but we thought it was hilarious. I am thinking that bubbles will happen as this starts to cure, but hopefully this is thin enough that it'll just release them out to the top. So I'll see you when this cures up. We had a catastrophe. I poured in 3/4 of an inch. This is Resin Pro I5 or iCrystal 5. It's supposed to be good for 2 inches. 2 inches. And it flashed. I got a crack right here, but I don't know if anything underneath on the bottom looks destroyed. I hope not. Trying to figure out how to fix this now, because these bubbles are set. I'm thinking if I get my Dremel, hope that hasn't pulled away too far. Because what I'm thinking I can do is Dremel these really bad, not so much this one, that one there where you can see those bubbles, this and this section, and then put a layer over the top of it. If I put a layer over the top of this, you're still going to see this. Bummer. But it's going to be a thin layer going over the top of this. Bummer. I had such a good idea. Look at the way this cracked. It just... Man. Shoot. Well, okay. Dremel it is, and then put a clear, another layer with these two colors, but a thin layer over the top of that. Hopefully it doesn't pull away from the sides and end up having, well, if it does that, then I'll just sand down the sides and we'll do a top coat, flip it out and do a top coat and clean up the sides that way. I mean, there's ways around this, but that's not what I wanted. Frustration. You know, I've talked about using the Dremel. Instead of me just going and doing it, I thought, why not show you? Okay, well, I got one of these big old honking Dremels. And I'm going to use a cutting thing, not a sanding, because I just want to cut into those bubbles. because if I do the sand, there is going to be a complete coverage of almost impossible to get rid of dust. So hopefully this will, and I can control the speed to some, I don't know where I want to go, but we'll try this. I'll start off over here on this little section. I'm just trying to expose. Now you may think, oh, that's a ton of dust. No, you haven't seen anything yet. Try using a Dremel with the sanding tool. Oh. I'm just trying to puncture those bubbles. Get through to where I can have a solid surface. There's a chunk right there. Got to drill through that. That's not too big of a mess. If I would have been doing the sand, you probably wouldn't see anything here with the sanding tool attached. Okay, not too big of a mess. I got just a little bit around here. Ooh, now I have some there where it was on my finger. Ah. Okay. I'm gonna get the vacuum cleaner. Actually, let me come back and pause the video so you're not sitting there watching all of this part. You know how to run a vacuum, right? Okay, don't need to show you that. You know, as I was moving this around, I ended up seeing some other problems with it now. And it pulled away from all the sides. There's a gap here, notice, and if I pour, it's all going to go down that side, possibly on the underneath. So I'm thinking what I need to do is take it out of this and just do a back top coat, for lack of a better word. Wow. Okay. Well, I thought I had this all cleaned up. Okay. Well, we'll see what has become of this. Not my idea of fun. I hope it looks good on this side. If it looks good, that will make my day. Come on, let loose. Let loose. Come on out of there. Come on out. You know, I had a big sphere mold that it, wow, look at that, it rotted all the way down to the edge. Shoot. Had problems getting big sphere mold out. Or a big sphere, not a sphere, circle, a big round thing. Well, you know, that looks really cool. Look at that Mexican one there. And no bubbles here. Just, oh, there was one bubble there on that. Man. Maybe I just won't do anything on the back. Or maybe I'll patch it with some UV resin on those areas. What's with that right there? Oh, I see what that is. When I was pushing down, I may have to do a top coat. When I was pushing down, it left little bumps. Look at that. What a mess. It's still not a bad looking piece. I mean, that but if I do a top coat, it's going to be clear. But you know what? I'm going to do a bottom coat first. Let it go over the side. Wow, that just cracked into that. Do a bottom coat first. Oh, vacuumed with it, didn't come out very good. Down those sides where okay, so you know what, I'm just gonna do this. Okay, do a back coat and hopefully let that come over the side, and it'll hopefully fill in these little areas. I'm going to put first, before I do that back coat, two things. Two things. I'm going to clean up this mat, and then I'm going to put glue, Elmer's glue, on top of this. Let that completely dry. Flip it over so that when it does, when I do the back coat and it does come over and it leaves those little drips, I'll just be able to go over with a heat gun and just tear off that glue, and it'll just come right off, like I did with those hearts that had a problem. Oh, this is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to just pull it out and say yay, but it's not yay. Anybody else ever had a problem? If I would have been doing this for somebody's wedding flowers or something, I would go through this same thought process of fixing it. And I will fix it. It will be done. Now I sound like Yul Brynner. So let it be written. So let it be done. Okay. Glue first. No. Clean up this mat first. Then glue. You know what? Let me just turn you off for a bit. Come back with a clean surface here, and I'll show you how I do the glue. Not that glue is a really hard thing to do, but just make sure we're all on the same page. Because I've had people say, well, you didn't show me that. Okay, well, I'm going to show you. Ways to fix a catastrophe. I have just been seeing a trend lately where other people have been having problems and they've had to go into fix-it mode. So what I'm going to use on this is that big wipes, because that stuff really works. Okay, I'll come back to you in just a bit. Good old Elmer's glue. Squeeze a heapin' helpin'. That reminds me of the Beverly Hillbilly song. Have a heapin' helpin' of their hospitality. Been a long time since I've seen that show. Okay, that should give me full coverage. Try and bring out the schoolboy in me where I sit there and rub it off my fingers. I'll just do it with, just go to the edge. Got to make sure these edges are covered. In the middle, I don't think we're going to have any problems, because when the drips come down, they will go in maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit further, not much. But if you make this stuff too thick, it takes forever to dry. So what I thought I would do is put this on now, take the dog for his evening constitutional. It's about a 2-mile walk I go with him. And hopefully by the time when I come back, this will be dried up. Man, I'm sitting here looking at this. I was hoping so much that this would come out. I mean, Sandra, when she did it, didn't have any problems like this. Man. If you're watching this, Sandra, I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying, no, why did it happen to me? It didn't happen to her. You know, things happen for a reason. Teach us patience. My sister just came down with COVID. My special needs son did as well. But he's not living with us. He's living with my sister. When he graduated, he goes, I want to move out. I'm like, where are you going to go? And my sister said, have him come over here. We're like, okay. So, okay, I just want to make sure that the sides, not the sides, the edges are covered. Because if I don't get those covered adequately, getting that off is going to be, facetiously speaking, fun. You know an interesting thing about the word facetiously? It uses all of the vowels in the English language, actually not all of them, because W is actually sometimes a vowel. You're like, no way! Say the word wow. And tell me that OW is not a vowel. But facetiously uses all the vowels, other than W, in order. A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y. Okay, I think I've gotten sufficient coverage. And I only got one finger of my glove. Whoa, look at this. One glove finger kind of soiled. And the cool thing about these gloves, look at this. These are the super duper heavy duty ones that are double, triple lined and stuff. You can wash them off and reuse them. It's supposed to save me some money. I don't remember who it was that told me about them, but I'm glad you did. Okay, I will come back after the dog walk and hopefully that'll be all dried up. After I made that big deal about cleaning up the desktop, before I did that, I did clean it up, but I got another job going on in there, and I thought I could do this one out in the garage since this has taken me longer than I had anticipated because of that foible with the resin flashing. Okay, so the glue is all dried up on there, and now I put 3 cups down there to support it. This is a level, you can't see it, but it's, can you see it? It's level. Okay, how about this way? It is level. It is perfectly level. Okay, so I have my spreading tool, and I have 1.9 ounces of resin there. So what I want to do is specifically touch these areas that had the massive bubbles, bubble trouble, toil and trouble. Anyway, whatever those creatures said in that. Now I have a toothpick over here that I will try and encourage these little bubbles up, because even though I ground out those areas, air tries to get caught under there when I pour the resin over the top, and it'll hide an air pocket. So if I do this, well, some of those are pretty deep pockets. Wow. I mean, like 1/8 of an inch. If you could feel what I was feeling. It's definitely more than the tip of that Q-tip going, toothpick going in there. See, by coaxing those out, now I don't see very many with that toothpick, and then I got a little deeper resin on there. Still don't like the way those are coming out. Or not coming. I hope I'm not in the way of the camera. Tomorrow is trash day, and I just heard somebody rolling their trash bin out to the side of the sidewalk. Okay, now and some of these corners had a big old bubble in them too. Coax that to the edge. Try and fill in those spots on the sides. This is already looking 100% better. It's looking better, but it's not where I wanted it to be. But if I can salvage this, that would really be nice. But just in case I can't, when I went out for the walk with the dog, I went by my sunflower plants and picked that many more, so that and they're already in the silica gel sand, because I don't want to lose them, and in case I want to do something again like this, and who knows, somebody may see this and go, I like that, or somebody else, I like it, can you do another one? And yes, I can. And I might wow, that is a big old bubble right there. Never saw it. Look at that one. And there's one there that I didn't see. Got it. Dum 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 dum. Smoke on the water. Dum dum dum. Okay, I just let that cure up. And any that drips over the edge, I can always pick off, because that is a pink silicone mat. I missed any bubbles, that'll get them. That area right there that I didn't grind down very far still is evident to me, but most people, when if they were to purchase this, they might see it and they might not. First off, it's on the back side. Second off, it's not super visible. So, you know it's there. I know it's there. Man, we got a picture of that light, light right there. It's a very bright light. There we go. See that? See this over here? You can sort of see not real well, but it's there. Well, you know it's there. I know it's there. Okay. Whoop, going the wrong way. Let it cure up overnight. Then I will peel off the the droplets on the other side. Flip it over and we'll do a top coat on the other side, and I will not go crazy with the top coat going over the edges and stuff. I'll just go right to the edge. So yeah, almost done with this. Whew. This is all cured up and it looks so much better than it did. And the sides where the cracks were filled in pretty good. Still not perfect along this edge, but now for the fun stuff. See, we got these drip marks. Got to come off, so get the heat gun going on them. And I'm starting to get the edge of this glue lifted up. And look how easy those drop marks come off after they heat it up and on that glue. Isn't that cool? If you've never done this type of thing before, this is a super satisfying feeling. Having those just come right off like that. Because if you've done this, if you've ever done a pour and didn't do precautionary thing like what I did with the glue, have such a really difficult time getting that off. Okay, now this is the way I had it setting in there. when I first was putting it together with the orange over on this side. May have a good piece after all. Okay. Still level. Still level. Okay, I'll go mix up some more resin and come out and we'll put this, and then I will get, sorry about that, the food net over the top, so if any bugs decide to come play, they'll have to do it somewhere else. Okay, may have salvaged this after all. I hope so. Before I mix up that resin, I thought, you know, this is an awfully smooth surface, so I'm going to rough it up. I've got 180 sandpaper here. Just going to go around, give a little bit of a texture, which will be covered up completely by the flood coat that I put on. But this will allow the resin that I'm pouring on to have something to bite into. I've been watching a lot of videos when I was getting ready to do my bathroom remodeling project. See, I just barely touched a little bit. Microfiber cloth, clean that off. And you look at it and you're like, oh, you just ruined it. No, when I put the new resin over the top, it'll fill in all those little imperfections like a dream, but it'll also stick better. Been watching a lot of videos from Stone Coat Countertop and RK3 Designs where they do countertops and bathroom shower walls and different things of that sort, and they're always talking about sanding things down in between layers to give it some tooth. Well, that's what I just did. I gave it a place where the new resin can go in there and have something to bite into to stick. Otherwise you may have this little gap on the side that if you heated it up enough it'd just peel right off, and we don't want that to happen. I did do that once. I don't have it on video, but believe me, I did do it, and I was most upset with myself. I ended up having to sand it down anyway and then put another cover over the top. But anyway, that's what I just did. I thought I would let you know instead of just coming back and saying, oh, by the way, I sanded it. Okay, now I'll go to get the resin. I'm back from outer space. I wiped that off with a microfiber cloth. Now I've got some alcohol. It's in a lens cleaner thing. I just keep using that over and over because it's a spray bottle. But I'm gonna make sure I got all the dust from that little bit of sanding I did, and that alcohol will help pick that up a lot better than just the microfiber. Okay, so now make sure there's no little hairs on this. Okay, now I'm going to get down here eye level with this. Whoosh, keep bumping. You know what? Pour with my right hand. I'm not going to get too close to the edge. I want to draw this to the edge and not let it go flying over, because I don't need to have the drips going down. did the other way, but not this. This is just doing a top coat. I called it a flood coat earlier. It's not really a flood coat because I'm not flooding and having it go over the edge. Getting it to the edge, and by sanding it, it'll help hold. I don't know if you've ever done a top coat and it sort of pulled back from the edge when it was curing. Well, this should prevent that by doing that sanding. Just get it up to the edge. You know, I thought about it and thought about it last night. I let that cure overnight, and so this is the next morning. And I thought, well, maybe the resins, because it was not the same brand of resin I used with the deep pour and the initial pour that I did. I thought maybe they had an interaction, and that's what caused it to flash. But then I thought, no, I've used those same resins before, so what did I do differently? And I thought, well, maybe I didn't let it sit long enough. Maybe I poured it in too early. But you saw when I touched it, it was, well, I keep rethinking and rethinking because I don't like having to compensate for a mistake. That maybe I did make a mistake doing it. And some of you are probably out there, yes you did, and I don't know what I did. So if you know what I did, if I did it wrong, you can write it in the comments. Just be nice. Okay, now I have to get down here. I need to put just a touch more on. That's the bubble. I mean, not the bubble, the drip that came the other way. I thought, oh no, I already got a drip going. But I don't. Covered, that one's covered. Those are the spots that had the little pokes of the middle of those flowers where they were coming up through. Okay, now do a real quick in case there was any little bubbles. Yeah, there were some. There doesn't look well. That's because there's no resin there. How did that happen? Now, And I have to teach a calligraphy class at the art league today, so I'm going to let this cure the whole time I'm gone. Don't want to put too much on here and then have it flying over the edge. Okay, move this out of the way. I'll go pour that extra resin into something else. Okay, if I just stuck my head in front, sorry, but that's looking pretty good. We had a football coach in high school. He decided he was going to come up with this, what he thought was an ingenious play. If we were for those of you that know American football, if we were in our own end and it wasn't looking real good, then he said, we'll do a quick punt. We'll punt on 3rd down. Why are we punting? We're trying to go score. And he goes, he had so little hope in our football team. We had not had a very good season for many years. The varsity hadn't. And so he just basically gave up on us. And yeah, he said, we'll just do a quick punt. Well, if I would have quick punted, I would have given up on this, and I'm not the type that gives up. Now, cure, baby, with no problems. No bugs getting in there, no nothing else. Okay, I'm done until I come home later this afternoon. That should be cured by then. Hoping so. This is all cured up now. I think I'll take it outside while the sun is still up. Get some pictures of it. Got some marks where those cups were, where it was sitting on those cups. But yeah, that's pretty. A little dimple here and there, and it was right over the top of that. But I am very pleased considering how it had turned out. Man. Okay. Thank you, subscribers, for hanging with me through this all. And I'm glad my flowers survived and didn't take a turn for the worse. Okay. See you next time.